All right, Matt, whenever you're ready.
Great. Yeah. Let's get to our conversation. Good morning, everyone. It's April 28th, 2025. This is AMCC's National 30-Minute Call. Same time every Monday morning, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, 8:30 Pacific. I'm Matt Bogosian, Executive Director of AMCC, the nation's manufacturing community of practice, and David Van Sicklen is our operations director. And it's great to be here again this week, like every week, with you, our BFFs from all parts of the manufacturing ecosystem of support. To do what? Of course, to support manufacturers and regions so they make smarter products that solve problems, improve the human condition in key industries like defense, energy, transportation, ag, IT, and health. And that's why we need to build up every aspect of the ecosystem of support in regions, bottom up for key manufacturing to thrive. So today is our roundtable call. We on Mondays we also have presentation calls where someone brings in a challenge to talk for 10 or 15 minutes about it, best practice to share, something like that. But whatever kind of call we have every Monday at this time, it's bookended at the end of the week with the AMCC update newsletter. And these two weekly activities are, when we build and maintain these trusted relationships, which are necessary to advancing the American project. So thanks for being on. And like I said, this is a roundtable call, so anyone can bring an issue to the floor, a challenge they need help with, some kind of best practice that should scale. Every Monday, like David said, we want folks to put their name and affiliation in the chat because that's part of the relationship building, right? Is putting yourself out there, getting to know other parts of the ecosystem of support. We're a fragmented country, and we've got to work to solve for that. So as we do on every call, at the beginning, we give folks a chance to quickly introduce themselves and tell us where they are within the ecosystem of support for manufacturing. Let's just start. I see some faces on there. David McFeeters-Crone, tell us where you are, sir.
Portland, Oregon. I run an organization that is funded by the MEP through a different mechanism than the normal centers. Our job is to help small manufacturers form partnerships to help them with production issues. I have two other announcements that are unrelated to my program. The first is that for those of you who haven't heard, it seems as though the SBA regional innovation clusters received what I'm going to describe as a stop work order. So they're dead in the water, I think, until they hear back on this. I think everyone agrees this is probably not the most legal of things that has happened. And it was indiscriminate. I mean, in particular, there's a group in Montana that's focused on extracting critical minerals, and it's sort of mind-numbing that would be something that we would choose to stop. For those of you who aren't familiar, I just put a link to that group in the chat. And then quickly, in sort of a better news situation, the Defense Innovation Unit, which we've been talking with, our program has just released, but I guess technically is not an RFP. It's more like a kind of a beefy RFI. They're seeking any and all individuals who are focused on a variety of different forms of 3D printing, large, small, ceramic, metal, and also software systems for integration. The goal is to extend DoD manufacturing in a more nimble way, and they're with also another idea of extending their blue manufacturing method. So that would mean companies that aren't impacted by resources from hostile nations. So anyway, this is open until it's going to be rolling, but the first cohort is closing on May 23rd. The way to apply is relatively easy, 15-page slide deck or a 5-page white paper. I would encourage any of the folks that you have in your cohort to get in, be reviewed, and then put on some sort of list. And also, if you're looking for helping me out, somehow stick the word cats in there, referred by cats or by me, by name or acronym DMK. That'd be great because we're trying to impress DIU also in our abilities to get things done. The link is also there. Just one sort of word to the wise. It's not under their like their open proposal section. It's in their latest news section. So if you forget where this link is, go to diu.mil and then go to the latest news section. Thank you.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, thank you. Welcome. Appreciate you using the chat and modeling how useful the chat can be, right? So we only have a short period of time. You all are key systems leaders in your neck of the ecosystem, and it's important to transmit this information quickly, efficiently, in a conversational way. So very, very helpful. Barbara Pinnell James. So why don't you say hi and tell us where you are in the ecosystem? Yeah.
Good morning, David and Matt. It's great to see you. I am in Boulder, Colorado, and I do fractional business development and manufacturing across the country. And I love what David and Matt do. So I'm thrilled to be here and appreciate all of the updates, because it's going to take us coming together as a community to survive what we're going through.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Chris Berger, welcome. Oh, your screen. Oh, there you are. Your screen was frozen for a second. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. Good morning, Chris Berger. I'm the Assistant Vice President of the Manufacturing Sector Team at the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. This team was stood up about a year and a half ago. So we're building a team from scratch, focused on manufacturing. We cover 3 verticals: advanced materials, food and beverage manufacturing, and biopharma or life sciences. Our job is to recruit manufacturing businesses within those 3 verticals to Virginia, but then another great thing we have the honor of doing is ecosystem development. So we also attach a lot of importance to the retention of our businesses and the health of our manufacturing sector. Really happy to be here and start building some community, and that we all don't feel so alone as we navigate everything that's going on around us. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, thanks for being on, Chris. You said it so well. It can be a lonely job out there, and so this call has been running for 10 years with a lot of stakeholders just like you, just to stick together and work from the bottom up. And there's so many different elements. We frame it around the big 6 elements and regions around the country. Very common tale, which includes one of the first biggies of that is workforce, of course. But 5 other elements of the manufacturing ecosystem of support are critical. Amy Schultz talking about workforce and education out there in California, Sierra College, right, Amy? Welcome.
Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm Amy Schultz. I'm Executive Dean for Workforce and Strategic Initiatives at Sierra College, and we're doing a lot of work with our employer partners. But this morning, I really want to give a shout out. I know Dean Peckham's on here with Sacramento Valley Manufacturing Alliance. This weekend, SVMA hosted a high school design challenge, and we had over 60 kids enter and finish projects around tic-tac-toe boards, but they took all sorts of different approaches, everything from 3D printing to CNC machining to the CAD that they used to design it and then present it to judges. It was just a very impressive event, and the kids are just really excited about the field. So, I just wanted to share a little bit about that. So thank you, Dean and SVMA, for your work on that and building the next generation for manufacturing.
That's awesome, Amy. Way to go, Dean, et al. It takes a village for sure. And, you've been seeing it in the AMCC update about we've been pushing this bottom-up approach for a long time. It was great to see the state of California come out with a California Economic Blueprint, which really is a framework. We tout a lot of other states like Connecticut and their chief manufacturing officer and that state government's cool work around manufacturing. Well, California has really leaned in with a comprehensive bottom-up economic blueprint, which focuses on manufacturing and industrial production, and they broke the state into 13 subregions, and each of the subregions were to put together a battle plan, and that battle plan, all 13 of them comprehensively went to EDA, and they got sanctioned as the SEDS for across the state. And so it's a pretty cool format for, one of many. That's one cool thing about the American project. We're fragmented, but we get all of these different experiments, these different expressions. Bottom up, though, is the key point. Audra Ladd from our pals at the Urban Manufacturing Alliance. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. I'm Audra, calling in from Nashville today. I just wanted to say thank you for all y'all being here and being here every week. I know that MEP is still on our minds. I have a different topic to bring up today. We are about to launch a landscape analysis for a project involving food and bev production manufacturing, particularly in the south of the US. And we were looking to work pretty deeply in one community. If you are in that area or are passionate about food and beverage production, I'd love to connect with you. My email's in the chat. Thanks.
Great, Audra. Welcome. Great to have you on. Sarah. Hi. Welcome.
So my name is Sarah Johnson, and I actually live in Seattle, Washington, and I actually represent 2 organizations. My day job is I run membership and business development for the Association of Washington Business. So we are the State Chamber of Commerce and the Manufacturing Association. And then I also consult for the Manufacturers Council of the Inland Empire, running all of their events. So I'm on
awesome.
both states.
Yeah, 2 hats. I think that's a common
Yeah.
trait of systems leaders, Sarah. Multiple hat wearers. Yeah,
Right?
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Yeah, thanks for being on here. It'll be great to get to know you. I mean, we've been talking with stakeholders up in the state in Washington about doing a roadshow. AMCC does a variety of these 2 weekly things we talked about, this call and the update, but also we do in-person roadshow visits where we learn from cool systems leaders like you about what cool things are happening, so we can express that to other leaders around the country, and then we can share what we've learned around the country with stakeholders there in the state of Washington. Speaking of that, Ben McLaughlin in Maryland. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good.
I'm the
Good to see you.
manufacturing program manager for the Department of Commerce in Maryland. And we work with our partners, statewide partners, to do whatever we can to advance manufacturing. We work with the legislature to review legislation that impacts manufacturing. And we've been talking about doing a roadshow in Maryland. We're trying to pull all the partners together to have a meeting regarding that. Most of my day is spent in the manufacturing community, whether it's touring plants or speaking to manufacturers all day. So I'm getting a lot of benefit out of this group on the weeks that I can attend, and I don't have meeting conflicts. And so it's good to meet all of the newcomers to the call and all of the weekly regulars this call.
Yeah,
it's great to connect with them.
Yeah, likewise, Ben. So glad, looking forward to getting to Maryland too. It's co-creating. So we're not, we don't parachute in and say, here's all the answers. We come and co-create it with a bunch of pregame meetings with key stakeholders in the ecosystem of support, so that there's a lot of co-benefits that come out of it. Yeah, and it takes, all the regional leaders, it takes these other interventions, that come in from state government, federal government, private sector interventions. One of our pals from in the workforce zone, Melissa McGregor from JFF. Good morning. You want to say hi?
Sure. Good morning. I'm Melissa McGregor. I'm with Jobs for the Future. We are a national DOL funded. Well, my project is JFF is a large entity with many pieces of work, but the body of work that I'm leading right now is an industry intermediary contract in manufacturing and agriculture. We support apprenticeship program development, and just like Matt said, we also have a focus on individual, regional, or just local ecosystem capacity building so that we can lift a program into place and use sustainable design practices to keep it functioning and sustainable. We also have incentive funding. We still have incentive funding available. So if you have apprenticeship programs, please apply. I'll drop the application into the chat. And particularly, we have a separate set of funding for anyone who is manufacturing in the casting and forging, plate rolling industry. There's actually quite a bit of funding available for apprenticeship development in those particular sectors. So happy to help in any way I can.
Great. Thanks, Melissa. Great to have you on. Andy Stetner, welcome from the Century Foundation.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Andy Stetner, Century Foundation here in Washington, D.C. I put in the chat, I was missed last week. We had a piece around MEP and its value. Have another piece coming out this week by Emily McGrath about the innovation economy and what's at stake and how important it is. And then just to kind of little offer, if anyone's coming into town for the National Skills Summit next Monday through Wednesday, I'll be there. I'd love to reconnect. If anyone's coming out for that, we're thinking about maybe we'll do like a little group table if we can find enough friends from other places that are coming in. So drop me a note. I'll put my email in the chat.
Sweet. Thanks, Andy. Meredith O'Connell, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. So my name is Meredith O'Connell. I am with the Center for Economic Growth located in Albany, New York. We are one of 10 MEP centers in New York State. And I just want to jump on what Melissa was saying. Wednesday is National Apprenticeship Day. Previously, National Apprenticeship Week was in November. U.S. Department of Labor have now changed it to the month of April. So Wednesday is National Apprenticeship Day. I'll share a link in the chat if you want to take a look at any events happening in your area. Those are all listed on the website. So, and thank you so much, Melissa, for everything JFF does. We benefit, so I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for being on the call, Meredith. Welcome and good to get to know you. Other folks want to, now we put a lot of info into, we put a lot of info into the AMCC update. We have lots of important topics in there. There's a description about roadshow visits. We had a couple of things in there about capital access, private equity. SSBCI has a webinar coming on. And we talk a lot, we have 250,000 manufacturers around the country, and most of them are aging out owners, right? And I see Steve Storkin there, who has been a leading voice on how we get more employee ownership. Urban Manufacturing Alliance is taking a laboring oar in this. Urban Institute, Project Equity. There's a lot of great partners, but we need to do more, and we need to do it a lot faster. Steve, welcome and say hi. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. I was here a couple weeks ago, said hi as well. Steve Storkin, Employee Ownership Expansion Network. Just want to let everybody know there's a network of state centers for employee ownership out there right now. There's 24 of them, but we can cover every state. If you've got a manufacturer who wants to learn more about how employee ownership could be used for exit planning or business growth, we are here. We are a free resource, just really here to get the word out on what employee ownership is and how it might be used. So my contact information, actually, I forgot to put my email in there. I'll put my email in the chat. So thanks for calling us out, Matt. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it, Steve. And, trust, as Steve, you and I have talked about, right? Trust is the coin of the realm, right? And so we have to engender that trust some way. And that's with regional leaders, not from, national folks it's just hard. It takes time, and we've got to be persistent and come together and find those common interests and build the trust necessary so that we can get those transitions. David Weirman, yeah, welcome. Oh, I don't hear you, David. I'm sorry, I said David. Daniel Weirman, sorry. That's my bad.
Oh, hey, Daniel Weirman, CNC Career Network founder. I didn't raise my hand, but I'll be happy to say hey to everybody.
Yeah. All right, cool. No worries. I thought you were trying in. Well, welcome. Yeah, and good to have you out here. One of the things that we put in the update every week is the AMCC 1.0 version of this playbook for manufacturing community ecosystem metrics, right? This is complex system science. It's overwhelming for pretty much everyone to get their arms around, oh, what are all the interventions that we need to put together in my region? What do we need to do? Where are the gaps? So we've been partnering with NIST, MEP, with Deloitte, many other federal agencies, and we've gotten to a point where we have this 1.0 version of the playbook. Give us feedback. Andy, you were talking about some important research going on. I was thinking about Dan Bresnitz's book, Innovation in Small Places, or in Real Places, I think it's called. It's a great book. It underscores the importance of relationship building. And let me go back on this a little bit. We had this Manufacturing Momentum Summit in December, and we had all these stakeholders come together, including Anna Brown from OMB in the White House. And she brought with her one of her professors from when she was an undergrad in school from Berkeley, John Zeisman, who wrote in the 80s a book called Manufacturing Matters. Well, we built a relationship with John Zeisman. Zeisman turned us on to another one of his students, this professor, Dan Bresnitz, who has this incredible book, Innovation in Real Places, that underscores exactly what we've been doing for 10 years and saying, hey, you need an ecosystem of support. It gives even further detail. I think David's going to drop it if he hasn't done in the chat, this book. But why is that important? The relationships are leading to this metrics tool and playbook. We have a meeting every other week with NIST and Deloitte and these other federal agency BFFs, and including Argonne National Laboratory, which is getting into economic development, where we want to bring in all of the evidence that's out there to help regional leaders do a gap assessment, a gap analysis. And we need your input. If this playbook, this 1.0 version thing doesn't make sense to you, tell us that. If it would make sense, if it was said another way, tell us that. We meet every other week with this team to try to get to the next step. I want to bring in, we're bringing in as much intellectual firepower that we can find, but we don't have it dialed as to where all that lives, right? This would be a free, open, not owned by us or anything. This would be a free, open source tool and playbook. We're excited about our relationship with Argonne National Laboratory, as they're leaning in on it, and many others. But that's an example of cool stuff that's in the AMCC update newsletter every week, and would love you guys' feedback on that. We have let's see, lots of other stuff in there. But I don't want, this is a roundtable call. I don't want to dominate. Oh, thanks, David. You put that in there. Yeah, go ahead. Is somebody going to chime in? There's other folks on screen. I can call them out in our last couple of minutes. Glenn Tobiasen, where are you in the ecosystem? Yeah.
There we go. I'm in the ecosystem. Glenn Tobiasen from Innovacon, working with a company, Carbatura, bringing manufacturing into counties and municipalities, and using trash as the feedstock for the manufacturing. It's quite interesting, and also doing so at no cost to municipalities and with no emissions and no creating a lot of jobs too, which is really very important. So really good stuff for manufacturing into places that will need it and have a good supply of waste, which we need as our feedstock.
Yeah, I got asked, where am I? I'm not in my normal setting. I'm in Danville, Virginia at the ATDM conference, All Hands on Deck conference. If anybody is out there, let me know, right? So we talked about at the beginning, kind of our three-part framework. The first one being the key manufacturing industries: defense, energy, transportation, ag, IT, and health. Defense, right? So we need to make ships faster, smarter, better, planes, the whole thing. It's a dangerous world, and we need to be sadly but true, we need to be armed. Brian Kennedy, welcome. I see you come on screen. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too, Matt. As always, excited for the Inland Empire Roadshow as well.
Yeah, that's in the update. Thanks for the call out, right? So That's the Inland Empire in California, one of those 13 subregions within California, right? A state saying, hey, we're going to lean in on this bottom-up approach with manufacturing and industrial policy. So very cool. Not a panacea, of course, because it's up to the regional leaders to put together the cocktail. And Brian, tell folks where you are in the ecosystem and the important value add you guys bring. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt. So my name is Brian Kennedy. I'm with Ampac Business Capital. We're a local SBA lender and community development financial institution that provides financing from the SBA and the Department of Treasury to manufacturing companies, as well as other small businesses. We specifically facilitate the SBA 504 program, which helps business owners acquire their commercial real estate. And we even have a 504 energy and sustainability program that's specifically geared around helping manufacturers and other small business owners expand into sustainability and efficiency as it pertains to energy. So we're honored to serve our small business community and, of course, support championing manufacturers getting the access to capital they need. So really looking forward to the roadshow coming to the Inland Empire. I'm honored to be a part of this group as well. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great, Brian. June 11th, I think, right? That's where we're going to be there. Looking forward to that. And if you have ideas, sometimes David and I, if there's other places around that meeting that we're set up on the 11th, I think the next couple of days. Anyway, let us know if there's other things on your radar that would add value. We have just one more minute. Anything else for the good of the order? Somebody, you want to call out something? Check out the chat. David makes the chat available. Remind me, David, and everyone else, how do people, if they said, shoot, I wanted to get that chat, how does that happen? Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. Everyone can download the chat themselves with those three little dots on the right side, top right side of their chat window. You can also email me if you'd like access to them, and I can send them to you.
Great, everybody. Thanks so much for being on the call, and hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
See everybody.